What's up, everybody? This is the Four Horsemen Fantasy Football Podcast. My name is Josh Romine, joined tonight by Alex Devaney Stoner. What's up, dude?
Hi.
Over there on the left, we got Joshua Van Cleve. How are you, man?
What's going on?
We're missing our other guy. Brent is on vacation doing something. We don't know. Can't talk to him right now. He won't text back.
He may never come home.
We miss him dearly, but I'm worried about him. But
everybody should be.
We all are. But all right, so tonight we are going to be talking some AFC West. We're going to be going through our fantasy stock watch, going through some risers, some fallers. But first of all, I'm going to do my random question. So, are you guys going to buy Madden? Or have you already?
I mean, I haven't. My brother owns a PlayStation or a PS4. I only have a PS3, and I just bought No Man's Sky. It's probably not going to happen this year. I don't know. $70. It's steep.
Yeah, it's expensive.
Wait, what? It's now $70 a game?
It's $69.
Is that the regular one, or is that special edition one? There's two versions. There's like the regular version and then some super edition. I don't know.
Man, you can tell how long it's been since I bought a game last. Because like last time I spent it was like $40 or $50, something like that. I bought four. I have a PlayStation 4. I bought Far Cry 4. Was it? I think the newest one. And I haven't been able to play it. Like that's the problem. Like I don't have time to play it.
See, that's the biggest problem though. Is that and like right now I'm unemployed, so I have the opportunity, but like. It's just one of those things, especially when you have kids and stuff. You're like, if I feel bad playing, like I legit just feel bad turning it on and saying, "You go do your thing. I'm doing me right now." Like if it feels so wrong, I don't know.
Yeah, it's welcome to parenthood. I bought a PS4 and I bought Destiny, and I was all like gung ho gonna play it. I think I played it like 3 times, and that was it. I was done.
Well, see, one thing is that like. With PlayStation 4, you can actually remote it to your computer. So, like, if I'm watching a show, sometimes I'll steal his controller, plug it into my computer, and remote to my computer, and I'll play, like, because you got to get, like, you got to harvest minerals and stuff like that in No Man's Sky. So I'll just sit there and do that while I'm watching a television show because I'm doing something kind of monotonous. So, I mean, it just kind of makes me more secluded to my bedroom, but oh well.
Yeah, because like games are fun. I think it's good. I really want to buy Madden. Like I really want to buy it. I'd really like somebody to give it to me as a present, though. That'd be ideal.
But the only reason I bought No Man's Sky was because my dad said that he would pay for half of it. So I was like, okay.
See, that's the thing. I want my mom to be like, "Hey, here, I bought you this new Madden game. I thought you might like it." Yay!
I have to say that the millennial generation is much more accepting of help from their parents in any way, shape, or form. Like, parents want to pay for stuff? Hell yes. I'll take it. Like, generations before, it's like, no, we can't do that. I'm like, no, if you want to give me free stuff, I'm fine. Yeah, there we go.
I feel a little guilty about it, but, like, I'm still accepting of it. Like, I'd be like, oh, no. But then they're like, yes. I'm like, okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you don't have to. Oh, but, we can just count it as your birthday present or part of your birthday or part of your Christmas. I'm like, whatever, I'm fine. Okay.
Perfect. What was the last Madden you guys bought then? Do you remember?
Yeah.
When Fitzgerald was on cover?
Yeah, that was the last time I had Xbox 360.
Yeah, it was on. I got
Fitzgerald
on
was on there. Yeah.
So that would have been 09?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Really?
I'm pretty sure because I was still living at my friend Zach's house at the time, and I moved out in May of 2010. So I wouldn't have had it then. It had to have been 09. So yeah, I haven't bought Madden in 6 years.
I bought NBA 2K14.
Woo!
Last week?
No, yeah, probably $5 when it first came out.
The new NBA 2K17 looks phenomenal. I keep seeing the ad keeps popping up on my Facebook because I think I liked it at some point, but it's got a whole lot of Paul George in it, and I think it looks great. But all right, guys. Well, let's go ahead and get into our fantasy stock watch. It looks like the stock is down on Josh Gordon. Multiple outlets have reported that Cleveland is fielding multiple offers for the talented yet troubled wide receiver. According to ESPN Tony Grassi, it's possible that Cleveland may have created the rumors to generate interest. The only reason, according to Grassi, Cleveland would do such a thing is because they don't believe in Gordon's sobriety. That's interesting.
When I was researching that stuff, I found that very interesting too. But I don't know. They've held on to him for so long.
Yeah.
Really? That means that they have so much faith in Terrell Pryor that they don't think they need Josh Gordon. And Josh Gordon's looked pretty good. I don't know. I don't know.
That is a bit interesting take on it. You think you're right. They have invested a lot in them. Because I don't know why they wouldn't have just cut him unless because he went back to practice last week, didn't he? He was able to start practicing with them.
I believe so. Yeah.
Unless you're starting to see he doesn't still have his step that he did.
Well, I thought I'd read that he still looks good.
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly, I do think if what he's saying is true, I can see it as that, because let's face it, if he gets in trouble one more time, he's gone. Right. There's no way that after how many chances this guy has, if he doesn't learn now, he's not going to learn ever, and it's never going to happen. So I think that if that is the case, it could be where, I don't know if he's still living with Manziel or what's going on with that, because the problem is that he surrounds himself with the wrong kind of people, and that's been his problem. And I think they've done a good job with allowing him to kind of figure things out, and I don't know. I would be shocked if they traded him, honestly.
Yeah. So Van Cleve, do you think that Cleveland's trying to shop him, or do you think it's all a ploy?
If they get a decent enough offer, how can they say no? Because look how many wide receivers they have already drafted, and they picked up off free agency. That's a lot of wide receivers. So I don't know what they're trying to do, if they're just trying to find a replacement in Josh Gordon. So maybe they're trying to field some offers and generate some hype about it.
Yeah, because really, I think all they'd be getting for him is possibly a draft pick. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it would just be a draft pick.
And I think it's going to be early.
Yeah, I think that I don't know. I have a hard time believing you put this much effort into keeping a guy and then you let him go and could possibly, come back and bite you. I don't know.
Okay, well let's think hypothetically then. So if Josh Gordon was to go to another team, what do you guys think would be the perfect fit? Where would you love to see him go?
Oh, love to see him go. I can I answer it in where I think he would go?
Sure.
New England. New England. They have no one that can stretch the field, really. Gronk is fast, but that's kind of what they had with LaFell. They had a guy that could actually go down the field and get it. They had Brandon Lloyd for a couple of years. They're kind of missing that piece. And Belichick's the kind of guy that will grab somebody like that and see if it'll work. And if it works, great. And somehow the Patriots always end up paying next to nothing for players. So they'd probably get him for a fourth rounder or something ridiculous.
And I think that's probably about what he would go for. Honestly, just with all the question marks, he does have talent, but you're not going to want to trade a first-round pick for him.
No.
Yeah, no.
I wouldn't think. So, Van Cleve, you got any other different landing spots that you'd like to see?
Cowboys.
Really?
I think Cowboys make sense. They need a number 2.
They need number 2. Jerry Jones always takes risk on what is it, disability or
they would be dumb about it though.
Yeah, but Jerry Jones always takes risk on those types of players.
But if we went to the Cowboys, I guarantee you it would be either a first or second round pick, because the Cowboys they have played desperate since Troy Aikman left. Honestly, they have just been so desperate to win, and they just can't do it. And so I think that that desperation could lead them to calling up Cleveland. Cleveland doesn't really care about the Cowboys because, it's a NFC AFC transaction. So I think that it ends up just being, if he goes somewhere, he goes someplace where they're either extremely desperate or it's a really smart, I hate the Patriots, but they are smart about how they do things. I mean, they also cheat, but
I was gonna say, other than cheating, they're a pretty well-run organization. But
yeah.
I mean, do you think they would take a risk on Josh Gordon like that though? I mean, with what he's been through, I could see maybe if he had maybe one or two, but this could be his fourth, right?
I mean, if you're giving up a fourth rounder.
Yeah, that's not bad. If you're giving up more than that, though, I think that's a little bit much.
I wouldn't. I don't know. I don't think that they will. I think he stays in Cleveland, to be 100% honest. But
yeah,
we'll wait and see. All right, let's move on to our next piece of news. The stock is down on Dion Lewis. The news is not good for Dion Lewis. A second knee surgery will be necessary for Lewis to get in there and clean things up. He will miss 8 to 10 weeks, according to Boston.com's Henry McKenna. Alex, you own Dion Lewis in a couple leagues, right, or at least one?
Yeah.
So you're invested. What do you think?
It's kind of a big blow, honestly. He was never going to be my starter, but I had him because he would be a great person to put into, either the right matchup or if somebody went down. And if you're going with a no RB for the first few rounds and you're collecting those big name wide receivers, a guy like Dion Lewis was somebody you're targeting. You're targeting, kind of the Ryan Matthews and Dion Lewis, Giovanni Bernard, even though Bernard's going a little bit higher than those guys. I think that's a big problem, especially if you've already drafted, because you probably drafted him to start. And now one of your starters, and if you are going no RB, you're thin at that position. It's not good. It's not good.
Yeah, I feel sorry for people that drafted already. I got him in a couple leagues, and luckily I don't really do the zero RB thing too much, so
yeah,
I should be in okay shape. But Van Cleve, what do you think about this Patriots backfield? They cut Don Brown, so James White.
James White could be. I think it's still going to be the Patriots running back, where you don't know. He's going to take the hot hands. They're going to scheme for each team. So you could have LeGarrette LeBlanc stepping up in a big way, or you can have James White sometimes. It's really Dion Lewis was a nice thing because he was a consistent running back, but it's the Patriots. I don't really want any running back on that team.
Yeah, the biggest issue is that with Belichick, it could be Jonas Gray. We haven't heard anything about Jonas Gray since that one game where he rushed for 200 yards. I mean, that's the crazy thing about New England, and that's why it's a scary team to draft anybody that's not Gronk, Edelman, or Brady, because they go with the hot hand, or they go with, I feel like doing this. This guy might exploit, a mismatch or something like that, and then they could be gone the next week. So you'll be you're chasing. Every time you're trying to draft a running back for New England, you're chasing, and just stay away.
All right, so say you're staying away from Dion Lewis now. That takes him out of the mix. I know you listed off a few guys there. Are those still the running backs that you're looking to target, like if you're going zero RB? If
you're going zero RB, I think that it depends on to what extent you take it. So if you have a league that has two wide receivers, you're probably going to be able to grab somebody like DeMarco Murray. Once you get into the 3 and the 4, that's when you start getting into the Ryan Matthews, the Dion Lewis, Giovanni Bernard, maybe even getting Hill as well to complement Bernard. I think that pool of running backs is kind of scary, and when you lose one of them, and also Bernard has an injury history. I don't think that the no RB is the greatest scheme, simply because of those. You usually get those kind of often injured guys, and so you're hoping that they have a solid injury-free year.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, I mean, I think you can get other running backs behind Deion Lewis, like what he's been going for. You know, there's like Matt Jones, Jeremy Langford, Arian Foster, Melvin Gordon, Frank Gore, Giovanni Bernard, Chris Ivory. I think you can get other values at running back behind Deion Lewis.
Who out of that group? Who do you like best?
Who do I like best?
Yeah.
If I want to look at somebody, I'd say Matt Jones or Jeremy Langford. I do like Melvin Gordon's value at how late he's going.
That's kind of what I was getting at. Yeah.
Arian Foster, if he's late enough, that may not be a bad thing for it. That's still that running back core still scares me.
Yeah.
I think probably one of those three guys. I mean, I'm really thinking that Melvin Gordon's gonna have a bounce back year. I think they've got most of their offensive line healthy again. They've got other weapons on the offense that are back healthy again too. So I really think that offense is going to take a step forward. So I really think Melvin Gordon at least will get one touchdown. I mean, I think he can only go forward from here, you know.
Yeah.
Unless he's the total bust. But I don't think that will happen to him.
Yeah.
He at least scored a touchdown in preseason, so
Hey,
he's on his way.
Right? He's already a better start than last year.
I'm staying away from Matt Jones, dude. You love him, Van Cleef, but
yeah, he's scary. He
scares
fumbled in the
me so
preseason.
much.
He's got why? Hold on to the ball. Like the thing about Matt Jones that is frustrating is he has the job. There's nobody behind him. Just hold on to the damn football. That's all you got to do.
He's got great talent. It's just that fumbling issue is a big hurdle to get over.
Get some gloves or something. Jesus.
He's got to do something because I really think Washington's going to bring somebody else in, and that just
who?
Who?
What happens if Ronnie Hillman doesn't make the Broncos?
You think that's a better alternative to Matt Jones?
Yeah, if he's not fumbling.
I don't know.
You can't turn the ball. If you put Kirk Cousins back there, you can't afford your freaking running back to be fumbling the ball away.
Other than Clinton Portis, there's not a lot of players that come out of Denver and then do well because that's the whole the mile high thing. I mean, if you look at the running backs, Clinton Portis is really the only one that made a decent transfer over to a regular ground level kind of. I don't know.
I mean, No. Sean Moreno was looking good till he fell apart. So.
That's true. Yeah.
But I don't know. All right, well, let's move on to our last piece of news here. It looks like we've got the stock going down on Carlos Williams yet again, and the stock is up on Mark Gillislee. After a great rookie year, Carlos Williams hits the open market. After being suspended for the first 4 games and then showing up to camp out of shape, the Bills have given up on the talented running back. With McCoy being an injury risk, the backup could be a good handcuff to own. Currently, that is Gillislee, who showed flashes in limited use last season. First of all, do you think that Carlos Williams is going to get a job somewhere?
He was in New York today with the Jets.
Jets?
Yeah.
But the thing is, like, whoever picks him up is going to have 4 games without him. But he would just have to be a backup, like, continuing.
Well, talk about a team that could use a backup. We were just talking about Washington. Carlos Williams would be a fantastic complement and very scary for Matt Jones owners.
Perfect.
If he were to go there and Matt Jones, those first 4 games, isn't cutting it, I can see Carlos Williams coming in, and, I mean, he looked great last year. I picked him up, and I sat on him the entire year. And I was able to get a high rookie draft pick for him before all this happened because he had 9 touchdowns. He looked fantastic. And stupidity got the best of him. I mean, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, it sucks, but the thing is, like, fantasy owners, like dynasty owners, can't be dropping their Carlos Williams stocks. Hold on to him. I really think that he's going to land up somewhere. Washington would, like you said, would be a great fit. I think that'd be awesome. That'd be cool to see. He would fit into that system pretty well. He's a hard runner. What do you guys think about Gillislee then? Is you going to pick him up if you're the McCoy owner?
I think for right now, yes. I mean, because you have Jonathan Williams who may have some issues with that DUI and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he is, but I'm also a little worried because here out there Rex Ryan says he's probably the number 2, so doesn't feel comfortable with him naming him number 2 or like.
Yeah.
I mean, there's Jonathan Williams does have great talent coming out of college and stuff, so I'd like to see what he has, but since Mike Gilsey was with the team last year, so he's familiar with the offense. So that's something you'd probably take him, but it would scare me to pick which handcuff it could be out of that.
If you are in a dynasty league, I would rather have Jonathan Williams and picking up Gilsey because, like you said, there isn't like this. Yes, he is our guy. Yes, this is what we want to do. Honestly, I think that Carlos Williams isn't there because they have Jonathan Williams. I don't think it's because they have Gilsey. I think it's because they have Williams, and they look at him as kind of the guy they can slide back into that position of being kind of the backup, maybe a little bit of a bruiser. I don't know, but I don't know. I don't see Gilsey as a legit number 2 must-have handcuff for LaShawn McCoy.
Yeah, man. I honestly, I don't know if I'm drafting him. If I'm
who, Gilsey or
either one,
Williams?
I probably wait and see how it plays out.
Yeah, it is kind of a confusing situation right now.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's worth clogging up a spot on your bench for somebody like that. At least try to find like somebody that has more potential.
Even dynasty, you probably wouldn't stash one of them.
Depends how deep my league is. If I'm in dynasty and I have to stash one of them, it's going to be Williams because I think he has more potential to be, a superstar running back. I don't know. I just don't think Gilsey has it, and I think it's clogging up your bench if you hold those guys on there and it's not deep. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move it along. First of all, I want to say, if you listeners have any questions about any Dynasty players, hit us up. We're on Twitter. We are at the number 4 Horseman Pod. Get on your old computers, type us out an email. We are at the number 4 horsemanpod@gmail.com. Get on there, send us something. We need to interact. I think we only have like 70 followers right now on Twitter. I need more. I need to branch it out there. But all right, well let's talk a little AFC West here. Brent was supposed to cover Denver for us, but he's partying at his vacation home. So I think Alex is going to go ahead and ask us a little bit.
One of the big questions is about C.J. Anderson this year. I think that we were just talking about Ronnie Hillman. He might be kind of the odd man out. Do you like Booker, or do you think that C.J. Anderson is the guy and is going to carry it through the season? Josh? Oh, you're both Josh. Van Cleve?
I think I still have faith in C.J. Anderson. Obviously, I have some stock in him, but if you look at what he was able to do in the second half of the year, because he was injured in the first part of the year, and so I really think that stunted him from being a productive runner. And when you saw what he did later on towards the end of the season, he had great rushing yards per attempt, and he was able to look a lot more explosive there towards their Super Bowl run. So I really want to put stock in C.J. Anderson. As long as he can stay healthy, I think he's going to be a dominant runner. Now they obviously did draft Booker, but I think that's more because they didn't feel comfortable with what they had with last year. I mean, they had just C.J. Anderson, Hillman, and then there was a third guy that kind of rotated in, and because of injuries, I think they were scared. So I think they went out and drafted Booker. So I think Booker is talented, but I think C.J. Anderson has the starting job. They also signed him and paid him like a starting running back.
Yeah, Romain, what do you think about it? Because it's one of those things that C.J. Anderson is there. They basically took him away from the Dolphins because the Dolphins were looking to sign him, but they still drafted Devontae Booker, and I've heard a lot of good things about Devontae Booker. What do you think as far as what do you see going forward as the backfield for Denver?
So I think that C.J. Anderson is going to be the back to own starting off. I think that he's proven to that team. He's committed to getting better and working on what he needs to work. He's looked talent. I mean, he's got talent. He's looked good. He's shown at times. I don't know if there's problems with their offensive line before last year where he was struggling and it just all came together. I do like Booker, and that would be one that I'm okay handcuffing. I'm good with taking. I think that he is worth a spot. Just we've seen Anderson fail before and somebody come in. If Booker could, step up there and just shine as a player,
Yeah.
I think that Denver they'd be willing to move along. Now, Booker is a little bit older for a rookie, right? I think he's like 24 years old.
Mm-hmm.
He had some knee problems, so he has seen his issues too. But anytime you got a rookie like that, there's that excitement. You gotta love the fact that he came into camp and he wanted to take over the job. That's what he was looking to do. He wasn't looking to just be a fourth, third string running back. He wants to play. So you gotta love that drive. But I'm drafting Anderson.
Yeah.
Probably fourth roundish, third roundish, late third.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think you can get some good value after that because you can get a couple of stud wide receivers, and then get. I mean, if C.J. Anderson's your running back after 2 stud wide receivers, I'd be good with that.
Mm-hmm.
There's going to be a question about this on our next podcast about the quarterback situation, but I kind of want to go in depth here because it's just a news thing. Right now, it seems like they're just choosing the lesser of two evils here. And between Sanchez and how do you actually say his name? Simeon. It's like they're just forcing a veteran to play because they're not ready to put out Lynch. And so the question, I don't want to go too much into this since we're going to talk about it here in the next show. But what I'm curious about is looking at that scenario where you've got 2 guys not cutting it, just not getting it done. One goes in, looks terrible. The next one could come in and look like a hero, does terrible, and then the rookie comes in and looks much better. Now, that being said, that was against the third stringers of the teams late in that game. Do you think that it really hurts a quarterback to be put in too early, or do you think that it's something that if they're a good quarterback, they're going to be good right out of the gate?
I mean, sorry to jump in, but to answer that question though, you look at maybe the most recent, like Andrew Luck. He was thrown in right away and he's succeeded, but he's also had his struggles with that. He's really starting to pick it up more and more. But if you also look at his interceptions, he has high interceptions with Andrew Luck. So I mean, I don't think it's necessarily bad to throw in a quarterback right away. I mean, in the older style, they used to sit for a while. I mean, look at Aaron Rodgers. He sat, I think, for 2 or 3 years before he was a starting quarterback, and then went there. I mean, but Peyton Manning started his rookie year too.
Well, and just to jump in real quick, Russell Wilson's kind of what I'm looking at here. Because they brought in Matt Flynn to be the starter, and he wasn't cutting it, so they started Russell Wilson, and they've won a Super Bowl. I just feel like a great player is great. If they aren't that good, I don't understand drafting them. If it's like Hackenberg, I don't understand why they're saying, oh, he's a few years away. From what? Throwing a ball down the field? I don't understand. I don't understand that philosophy of let's sit a guy for 2 or 3 years, wasting maybe their prime years. I don't know. I don't get that.
Well, they saw Russell Wilson in training camp just outshine Matt Flynn and Trevor Siemian. They don't know what they really have with him. They just seen him in training camp and running with the number 2s. This is first time he's really actually started and running with the number 1s. So I think they're anxious to see, because they got him at great value last year in the draft. I think he was like a 7th round draft pick, just because he had an ACL injury. And he's this would be I heard something where he would be the second Northwestern quarterback to start if he starts game 1 in I don't know, it's been years.
There's only 2, really? Wow.
Yeah, it was Otto something was the first one. But yeah, so he'd be the second Northwestern quarterback starting. But I think they want to see what they have in him. But I think if Paxton Lynch was actually making leaps and bounds and showing that he could, I think they would automatically just start I think they would try probably throwing him in. But I don't know if he's necessarily picking up on the plays so far, because when he was in college, the plays weren't as sophisticated or as complicated as they are in NFL. So I think that's one thing that's hindering him. Once he picks up on that, I really think he'll start to take off. But I really think they want to start to see what they have in Simeon, because you can call him a veteran just because it was his second year, but he's never thrown a pass in the NFL, really.
Yeah. Roman, let me ask you this question. If your team is the defending Super Bowl champions, would you rather them trot out two guys that are not really that good, or do you want to see your rookie first-round pick?
And we talked about this in a previous podcast. I really thought that the Broncos were going to put Sanchez out there to start the season. I thought they have this team established. They're going to take somebody that has played in the NFL, that has maybe not seen the most success, but he's played decently, not terrible enough to ruin a franchise. Yeah. But other than the butt fumble, that was pretty bad. But I really thought that was who they were going to put out there. And then if somebody, if he got injured or he really sucked, then they'd put Lynch or Simeon in there. And now they're not. I don't think they're going to. I think they're going to put one of these kids in there.
I think he's going to get cut. So they don't have to give up a draft pick.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's the thing that is confusing to me, is that like they're still talking about trotting these guys out, and I don't know. I guess for me, you won the Super Bowl. So groom the guy you picked. Why put out a bad product? Mm-hmm. No, because the only reason that they're looking at Simeon is because Simeon wasn't as bad as Sanchez in that last preseason game. He went in, he stunk, and then Sanchez came in and stunk it up even worse. So they're saying, oh, by default, if I'm the Super Bowl champions, I do not want to have a quarterback by default just because I'm not ready to send out our draft pick. Don't draft somebody in the first round if they aren't ready to take over in that first season. I just don't understand.
But I think that this is what it's showing, is that Denver is going to be reacting. I think that if Simeon doesn't come out and play well in this curtain game, whatever it is they call this third preseason game, the most important one, then I think they're going to put Lynch in there, and that's what I would do. Right now, it looks like he's the most skilled quarterback that they have with the most potential. Yeah. So why not? They started Brock Osweiler last year.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd put Lynch in there if it's me, but I'm not John Elway, so.
Yeah. Well,
you haven't watched all yet.
That's all I have about Denver. They're kind of, for being a Super Bowl champion, they're a very strange team, because they could either come out and do great or be the worst team in their division. And I think that I don't think they're going to have like just kind of a 500 season. I think it's either going to be they shock a lot of people, or they're just going to be bad. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that they'll be all right. I really think that they're going to be pretty good again. But Van Cleve, you got the San Diego Chargers?
That I do. So a lot of it's coming out of their camp about this Bosa thing and that rookie contract and da-da-da-da. And it seems like San Diego's not been that good at negotiating or with contracts, and especially with rookies, draft picks. But I don't want to talk about that news. I want to get into we kind of mentioned this a little bit earlier with Melvin Gordon. And do you guys think, I want to, like I said, dive deeper into this, do you guys think he will have a bounce-back year? Roman, I'll toss this to you first.
Yeah, I think that he's definitely in line to have a bounce-back year. You got a team that's still standing behind him. They're willing to put him out there, give him these reps. He's looked good. He looked good, in the off season, working towards trying to improve his game, trying to be more ready. I think that San Diego has, they've improved their line. They've worked on that. I think he's a very viable bounce-back candidate.
Okay, so then where do you think he finishes at?
I mean,
top,
I think top 24.
Top 24?
Yeah.
And so then what do you think his stat line at the end of the year is going to be then?
realistically, I think that he could rush for 1,000 yards, 7 touchdowns, catch 25 balls maybe.
To
See,
me, that would be. Sorry, go ahead, Alex.
I was just gonna say it wasn't the kind of last year going in. I kind of thought that Gurley was supposed to be kind of the more bruiser, and then Melvin Gordon was a little more the finesse, like he caught more passes. I mean, 25 balls wouldn't be very much. I would think in that offense, because honestly, we were kind of having a discussion of if a city has a brand to project. I still think that San Diego is looking for the next LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yeah.
And I think that what they want to do is run the ball and be able to get that guy out into the field. And I think that he has the athleticism to do that. I don't know if you really can call it a bounce back year because he hasn't shown up yet. So, I mean, it's not, like he was good in college, but then he just didn't show up to the NFL. That was colossally bad. So there's almost no way that he could repeat that. He has to get better.
Well, I mean, sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say I don't really mean bounce back's probably the wrong word. I was trying to think maybe post hype sleeper, and it's really hard for a second year guy for us to say that because there's nothing established. But the build up to Melvin Gordon was so big last year. He was starting to go, move up into the second round, third round of drafts. There were a lot of expectations, and he just kind of fell flat on his face. Yeah. So I think that he could bounce back this year and be an RB2.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, who's going to compete with Danny Woodhead for receptions out of the backfield? I mean, last year he had 33 receptions, only less than 200 yards. But I could see that definitely happening. I think if he has that stat line, I think he would be a huge improvement, and I think that he would be. I think that would be a successful year if he can end up with that, at least more than 0 touchdowns at least.
Yeah, well, and when you've got a guy that can run and catch, those are those kind of players you want, especially in a PPR league. You want those guys because that means that they're on the field every single play.
Yeah,
and that's why you like guys like Ryan Matthews that can get involved in that. That's why you like guys like David Johnson, and so you like those guys because there's that potential. It's just, will Melvin Gordon live up to what we're hoping? But the value kind of offsets that worry. So I would, if he was available in in a no RB no RB situation, he would definitely be somebody I'm targeting.
What round are you targeting then?
I mean, I don't know what his ADP is right now, but if I can get him in the, I don't know.
I mean, right now his
5th or 6th round.
I mean, right now his ADP is 74th. Well, he's a running back 26. So you're talking what, 6th round?
Yeah. I mean, I'm fine with. I mean, if I could get him in the 7th round, that would be fantastic.
That's a 7th round ADP, so I think that's a steal.
Yeah, at 7th round, those are the kind of. Once you get into the 7th round, you're either grabbing your 5th or 4th or 5th wide receiver, or you're getting you're maybe looking at tight end, maybe looking at quarterback. Melvin Gordon has the potential to be a top 10 running back. Potential. We just need to see it.
Yeah, I mean, you're paying for in the 7th round for a starting running back. Yeah. I mean, obviously he had a disastrous year, but I would take a flyer at 7th round on a starting running back like that.
Absolutely.
I mean, so then if you say a no running back type draft, I mean, but would you draft a running back before him though, or do you think, or you go? Yeah,
I wouldn't want him to be my number 1 guy. No, absolutely not.
So he'd be your RB2 or RB3.
If I can get him as my RB3, I would be very happy.
I'd be okay with him as my RB2 in a 0 RB draft.
Yeah.
I just would not want him as my number 1 for sure.
Yeah, because that's just a little bit too much to put on the shoulders of a guy that really couldn't put it together last year.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So moving on to my next question. In my next question, I didn't want to kind of zero in on one player specific because I really want to know from San Diego's offense, who can you really invest in? I mean, you have Keenan Allen, yes, Antonio Gates, but I mean, these can be in this discussion, but who are you really trying to invest in San Diego's offense? Because Philip Rivers has sometimes up and down years. Melvin Gordon with his last year. Keenan Allen with injury history. Antonio Gates is so old. I mean, so is there really there? Do you still invest in these 4 players? Do you invest high? Is there anybody else on that team that you invest in? Alex, I'm going to start with you.
Well, I love the potential of Keenan Allen. The problem is that we've seen such inconsistencies, whether it be from injury or just poor play. He's somebody I'm looking at, but I feel like he's going a lot higher than I feel comfortable. Philip Rivers is problematic because it's like he's kind of the first half of the year. So you might if you're going with Philip Rivers, you kind of want to have another guy that you can fill in for those times where he starts falling off. But yeah, I kind of agree. I think that they're kind of a wasteland, honestly. Like there are players that could be really good, but they also could be nothing.
I mean, when Keenan Allen was in, he was on like a record-setting year. Like I think he was like one of the top wide receivers, like what he was getting and what his average out with me was just going to be up there with like I think Antonio Brown and Julio Jones at the end of the year. But his injury and like so that just scares me a little bit for his injury.
I mean,
still think he could. Go ahead.
He lacerated his kidney, right? It was like a similar injury to what Andrew Luck. It's kind of a freak injury.
But I thought something I thought he didn't have another injury though too. Like there was another injury
he's had issues. He's had injury issues.
He had been injured once before, but like he had a good rookie season. Then he had that fall off, and then last year he looked so good. I'm okay.
He looked amazing. Yeah.
It's funny that we call it a fall off, though. I feel like it wasn't that bad. I just think it wasn't. We expected more from him on the second season.
Well, and I don't have the stats right in front of me, but I was thinking he got like maybe 1,400 yards or something along those lines. I'm not sure. And so there was a dramatic fall off from one year to the next. And that, it might have been touchdown progression. You guys go ahead. I'll look up the stats here real quick.
Well, Keenan, he only had a kidney injury last year, so that was it. I thought he had another injury, and I think it was a year prior that he had like a knee injury or something like that. So, but yeah, I mean the kidney injury is like no joke. So I guess he's not. Injury I guess wouldn't scare me as bad because I don't think a lacerated kidney is going to happen again. That's kind of a freak accident, even though it happened to like 2 players in 1 year. And then before that, I don't know what happened.
Oh no, I was sorry, I was way off. It was he had just a little over 1,000 yards, but he had 8 touchdowns. Then the next year he had a little less than 800 with 4 touchdowns. He did less with those receptions because he had 77 receptions in 2014, and he only had 71 in 2013, but he did more with them. So I think that I really like his potential, and I'm just a little bit worried about where he's going. I'm not sure if I end up getting him or not. Now in a no RB situation, I'm probably targeting him because I'm probably going to grab 3 or maybe even 4 wide receivers, and then I'll get some other kind of role players later on in the draft.
You think that he'll go that late in the draft though?
No, Josh. Do you have his ADP pulled up by chance?
Yeah, I do. Give me a sec here.
What I'm saying is that if it's a no RB situation and I can get him in like the 3rd round or something like that, and I can fill in some guys later, then that's great. If I'm grabbing running backs at the same time, so if I'm going, let's say David Johnson, and then I go with I don't know. Des Bryant, we'll just throw out that. I don't know if I'm looking at Keenan Allen or not, or if I'm looking at a running back. I think that's where I'm just not sure.
His ADP is 26th.
Yeah.
So like early 3rd.
Okay. So I think I have him in one league because I think I took him in like the 3rd round or something like that.
Yeah, if he falls to late 3rd, that's about where I'd be looking for him. I don't end up with him a lot because normally he gets taken, early in the 3rd round. So I don't have that chance. But I like him. I think that he's got all the makings of a great wide receiver.
I don't mind taking him on the 2nd to 3rd round churn.
Mhm.
Like if I can grab like on the second another top wide receiver like I don't know Allen Robinson. I told see who would be there at that second round churn. So
Not Allen
Mike
Robinson.
no Mike Evans, Alshon Jeffrey,
Evans
Yeah.
would be great.
Yeah.
Evans and Keenan Allen,
So yeah,
Mark
like
Cooper.
what are you saying? Like if you have like the first pick and then you draft Antonio Brown, Mike
Yeah,
Evans, and Keenan Allen.
that would be a great starting run wide receiver four.
If you can start 3 wide receivers, I'd be fine with
Yeah.
that. But it doesn't always work out that way. So
So then continue on with this offense. Would you still have stock in Antonio Gates? I mean, he's still producing.
Mhm.
So I mean,
he's falling off a bit though, and I think that's one reason why I'm not. I have him in our main league, and the more I look at it, the more I'm kind of worried about it, because
Why?
that fall off. I don't know. That fall off is coming. He's 35. He looked really good at the beginning of the season, kind of fell off, and that kind of is that's an age thing. There's kind of like this. The first 5 or 6 games they look great, and then they go 3 or 4 games without a touchdown. They don't go over 50 yards for a few games. You kind of get those kinds of things. Him and Jason Witten are kind of playing the same. They're getting enough, but you're still kind of leery of it. I would rather find that next big thing, and maybe stashing Henry in a dynasty league or with your taxi squad or something along those lines would be good.
yeah, I'd be okay stashing Henry. I think that's a good idea. I think that Gates is a fine fill-in, like for just somebody this year, but I don't know. Like you're almost just hoping that you get lucky and that he continue. If you watched Gates last year, I watched a few San Diego games and I thought he looked different. Like he just didn't look as fast, as like dominant as he had in the past. So, what were you gonna say, Van Cleef?
so then what about Travis Benjamin? Or any other wide receivers? I guess because I feel like with San Diego you only took Keenan Allen and then you didn't really take anybody else, even though like that offense seemed to be, especially in the first half with Philip
Travis
Rivers.
Benjamin's size scares me. He's so little. And that scares me off. I mean, yeah, he did well in Cleveland, but really, Cleveland wasn't in a lot of games, so there wasn't really the need to be very physical with the Cleveland wide receivers. San Diego's going to compete, and I think that in that division is, I think, a little more. I don't know. I just have this feeling that Travis Benjamin might have some issues either getting to the ball or staying healthy because they're going to be playing to win, not just saving face like they were in Cleveland last year.
Yeah.
Right.
So before I wrap this up, then, is there anybody else that you guys would say, hey, take a flip flyer on, maybe in Dynasty, take a stash on? Anybody else in the San Diego offense?
I mean, the only stash really I would say is Henry.
Okay. That's what I'm thinking too. Yeah. Because with how they utilize their tight end, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a great stash. It's like what we were doing with Ladarius Green before. It's kind of just like Henry's filled that role. Now let's stash him and hope something happens.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Van Cleef. I appreciate the San Diego feedback there. So that was good. Alex, you were also going to cover the Chiefs, right?
Yeah,
Kansas City for us.
Kansas City. I have to say that this is probably one of the most boring teams in the NFL. I mean, flat out. You have Jamal Charles, who has been a top running back, but second ACL injury, he's creeping up on that 30 mark. Who would you unless you really love both of them, which backup would you take to handcuff? Would you pick Spencer Ware or Sharkandrick West? I'll give you mine real quick, and then I want to hear what you guys have to say. I have been a big West fan for this entire offseason. I've been so pumped about him. All week, I've been reading how he is the third, and that Ware is going to be that backup. They had very similar stats last year. West had more yards, Ware had more touchdowns. If you have Charles, are you going after one or the other, or are you going for both?
Roman, you want to take this one first, or you want me to?
Sure, I'll take it. I mean, I love Sharkhandrick West's name. I think it's a cool name. If I'm just looking to make my team look cooler, I would draft him. I think that Spencer Ware is the better talent. Uh, just eyeball test. I like the way he looks. I like the way that they've talked about him in the offseason. I liked that the Chiefs offered him a contract as well as Sharkhandrick West. I think that as the Charles owner, it goes back. If you have a deep roster, go ahead and roster them both. But if you have to choose one or the other, I think you're just guessing. Like, just which one do you like more? And I would take Spencer Ware.
Before I send this over to you, Van Cleve, the big thing for me is I'm looking at this, and we're not even talking about Niles Davis anymore. Last year, Niles Davis was going off as soon as Charles got hurt because, of course, Niles Davis is going to take over. And then all of a sudden it's this other guy and then this other guy, and Niles Davis isn't even seeing the field. Does that worry you, Van Cleve, if you're handcuffing a potential, you're getting this guy in either the first or second round. You have to protect that investment. Does it frighten you that there are a lot of guys in that kind of mixed bag of running backs?
It does to a little bit because you're like it's just a guessing game. Is like, oh, insert here, insert player A1 and A1 and A2. It's basically that type of thing where they could either one could play. They may play just the hot hand, almost like what they did last year. But you are reading more reports, and then you even saw in preseason games just Spencer Ware's running a little bit better. He's a little more of a stockier guy. I mean, he's only like 5'10", like 230 pounds.
Really,
so
kind of a good build for kind of a power back. Yeah,
power back, and so he the goal line carry. So like, I almost want to lean towards Spencer Ware because then I can get those touchdowns from them. I mean, last year he averaged like over 5.5 yards a carry, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
When he was in, I want to lean towards Spencer Ware. They did sign both, so obviously they have faith in both, and maybe they're just doing it as insurance, just as far as like if Jamal goes down again, he is getting older, but it's tricky because like if you get Jamal, you're like, now who do I got to take? And like sometimes with these guys, they can go a little bit higher than you want to take them, and then I would be nervous if I took Jamal Charles and then like one of the Sharkhandrick West or Spencer Ware, and then if Charles does go down, they'd be like, all right, are they going to play West or are they going to play Ware? If I have Ware, and so, but I would think if any one of those, I would pick Ware in a roundabout way, yeah.
Okay. On the other kind of issue that I have with Kansas City is, we all know that 2 years ago, no wide receiver caught a touchdown. Last year, Macklin supplied plenty of touchdowns. Other than Macklin, can you name me another wide receiver that plays for the Kansas City Chiefs?
Conley.
Okay. Romine, any others that come to mind?
He stole mine.
and well, I mean, so okay, then I was kind of letting that question take it to the direction. Do you see Conley taking a little bit more of a role and kind of being that number two? He is being talked about as a decent, component to go on the other side of Macklin. What do you feel you would do in a situation? Would you take this guy, or are you just going to leave him on waiver wires and kind of wait on him?
You talking to me?
Romine, yeah.
You talking to me? I'm leaving him on waiver wires, man. I don't think he's worth. And obviously, I'm assuming that we're not talking about the super deepest of leagues. Like, I think that on most rosters, he should remain in your free agent pool.
Yeah.
Wait and see what he does. That passing offense, I don't think it's got enough to go around to make another viable option.
This isn't really fantasy per se, but do you think that that really the Chiefs can do much having Alex Smith as our quarterback, like going deep into playoffs?
I mean, I think they can go deep in the playoffs with Alex Smith. I mean, look what he did with the 49ers when they had him. I mean, I think just towards the end, then they put in Kaepernick just because Smith got hurt. But also, I mean, I would just agree with Roma. I think I would leave Conley on the waiver wire because they do have Albert Wilson ahead of him on the depth chart. So it's like, you know, if Macklin was to go down, maybe Conley would be a guy you want to target because, you know, there's a lot of hype around him. But I think Alex Smith could be a quarterback for them for NFL purposes. Fantasy purposes, I don't know if he's going to take you deep into your playoffs. You know, because it's not a high passing offense, and it's Andy Reid's more of a running team. He's always run the ball, always had good runners.
I would also accept Rod Streeter as well. If anybody remembers his one season that he was good with the Raiders
in Oakland, yeah, he looked okay.
Yeah, but I mean, for the most part, other than Macklin, you're not really touching any wide receivers coming out of Kansas City. I think that you have kind of a rough situation if you're drafting Charles, which is why I am pretty much just avoiding him at all costs. I feel like it's too much of an investment because I think that West and Ware have built up enough of names for themselves that I don't want to have to go out and grab each of them because I think either one could have their own value individually as well if you can stash them. Especially right now, I think that Ware has that ability to be on somebody's team that doesn't have Charles. So I don't know. It seems like too much to me. You won't see me with Jamal Charles on many teams. So that's
yeah. He doesn't end up on a lot of mine either. But I'm okay taking him in the second round. Like I don't love it though.
Do you want him to be your number one? But do you want him to be your number one running back?
If I got like Antonio Brown, Odell, or Julio, and he fell to me at the end of the the end of the second coming back, I'd feel okay with that.
You would take Charles over, let's say, DeMarco Murray?
Yes, in a heartbeat.
Really?
Yeah.
Why?
I think it's just because what he's done. He's been the top 5 running back for the last what?
Well, okay, but I mean, let's look at the two situations. You had one like DeMarco Murray never fit the Eagles system. It was a ridiculous purchase in the first place. It didn't make sense. He was great when he was playing the way he was supposed to play, kind of going to his strengths in Dallas. And we saw him coming up and being really good. And he was a top 10 running back before he was the number 1 overall running back. He still has some tread on the tires. Jamal Charles doesn't. Why? What makes you want to pick him? Because both of them, missed out, or not missed out on a lot of time, but had rough 2015 campaigns. Mm-hmm. But both were very, very productive before. Why would you pick the older guy versus somebody like DeMarco Murray?
Personally, I think Jamal Charles, when he was playing before he tore his ACL last year, he looked phenomenal. He looked really good. He was running well, catching the ball. He was scoring. He was one of the top. I think he was one of the top 3 running backs in the the league to start out. DeMarco Murray was not. DeMarco Murray is going to a new system that, yes, I agree with you. I think that he could see success, but I don't know that for sure. There's still a little bit of worry that I have. Even he looked good preseason and that first game. But I've seen it with Jamal Charles in Kansas City, seen him be very successful last year. Granted, he's coming off that injury, but medicine has advanced so much. They do amazing things. It's not the same NFL that it was,
They can't cure age, though.
They can't. Well, they're working on it.
They're working on it.
It sounded like you said can't cure AIDS.
That's what I thought he said at first. I said, "Oh shit, I didn't know that."
Breaking news.
No.
So would you take Roman? Would you take Doug Martin or Eddie Lacy for him? Because right now their average draft position is behind Charles.
I would take both of them before Charles.
I probably wouldn't.
Really?
It depends on where I'm drafting. Yeah, because
I just feel
I don't know.
I feel like he's going to leave people out in the cold this year. I really do. I think
Really?
that people are going to go after him and hope that he's going to produce these top 5. I would say is what
Yeah.
you're expecting out of Jamal Charles. It,
It's what you're
I don't
hoping for.
know. But that's where you're drafting him at,
I mean,
right?
if you're
You're
drafting
drafting
him
him to be a top 5.
well, I'm drafting him at the end of the second round. So, yeah, I don't know. Probably, I would have a hard time passing on Charles for Lacey. Who was the other name you said, Josh?
Doug Martin.
I would absolutely. I will never draft Doug Martin again, just personally speaking. But I would have a hard time taking
What about
Lacey.
Mark Ingram?
I mean,
Oh, I
I
would take
like.
Charles over Ingram.
I,
Okay.
I,
All right. What about this? What
I
about
would
this?
too.
Devontae Freeman.
I would take Jamal Charles.
See, Devontae Freeman is actually getting drafted before Charles right now.
Yeah.
That one's a tough one. Like if I
Yeah.
knew that Devontae Freeman did not have maybe a better running back breathing down his neck, I don't know. He's a scary one to me. Yeah, he terrifies me. That whole situation in Atlanta scares me right now.
I take Charles over all those guys.
Okay, good deal.
All right. So moving on to me, I have the Oakland Raiders. I like the Raiders a lot. I think that with all the fun that has been made about their ownership, like I feel like they've started heading in the right direction finally.
They kind of a sexy team right now.
They're hot. They're hot.
Yeah.
I like them.
Yeah.
And one of their main cogs is one that Alex I want to ask you about. How good is Amari Cooper?
I think Amari Cooper has the potential to be, a top 5 wide receiver, in my opinion. I think that team is young and it's ready to go. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's hot and ready to go.
It's DTF.
Yeah, that whole team is DTF. No, I think that they have finally put something together. And I don't want to speak ill of the dead, but I think the fact that Al Davis died was the best thing that happened for the Raiders because they have made wise choices. They haven't gone after, your Darius Hayward-Bay type players that shouldn't be even drafted in the top 20. They are making amazing decisions. They have a great offensive line. I think that Amari Cooper, because of how well the team is been put together, one-on-one, I don't know if he is as good as maybe some of those top guys, but I think that their offense is going to be so good that he's going to look even better. And I think that he's going to benefit from them having, even having Crabtree on the other side of him. I think that's great. I think that they're going to have an improved running game. I don't know. Kind of sky's the limit right now for Amari Cooper. I think that he has the potential of being one of those guys that you're talking about possibly drafting in the first round in 2017.
Yeah, so you think he could be up there with like AJ Green, DeAndre Hopkins?
Absolutely, I do. Yeah. I do.
Van Cleve, you kind of feel the same way?
I mean, I think he could be better than AJ Green. I don't know if he'll surpass Antonio Brown or Julio Jones just because how their offense utilizes those guys. Mm-hmm. I do feel that they will be a well-balanced offense. I think he could be a top 5 wide receiver. I really liked it. I mean, he had over 1,000 yards last year. He didn't do anything crazy, but he was a rookie.
I think that Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying, and so I think just being cohesive with it. I mean, you've seen breakout wide receivers before, like Odell and stuff like that. But I mean, I think that in this offense, Derek Carr's going to be better. He's not a superstar quarterback, but he is progressing. He's a good to great quarterback. That I think that eventually, if things keep going well, they with the offensive line, the running game gets going. I really think that he could be a great quarterback. And so you really like to see that what they've done with the offensive line, and so that hopefully will get the running game going. Hopefully with DeAngelo Washington in there, that will give some fire under Murray's. So then that way it can really stretch the field then.
Yeah. Sorry. I was just gonna add that I think that one thing now we are looking at Tyler Boyd from Cincinnati to be a possible complement to AJ Green. But I think that right now I like Amari Cooper more than AJ Green simply because I know that Crabtree can make plays and can pull the defense his way. So there's not going to be a constant double team on Amari Cooper. Whereas I think at least going out the gate, I think that Green is going to see a lot more double coverage than Amari Cooper will, simply because Boyd's going to be getting kind of acclimated into the actual game flow of real games, and I think that the other guy is one of the least talked about things in the NFL. You've got great wide receivers that could be even better simply because the other guy is so great. I mean, we've seen it in Green Bay. We've seen it with teams that are just really good, and it's because they have two guys.
Yeah, I mean, it helps take away some of that coverage so that people aren't double team, unless you're DeAndre Hopkins, who, last year, it didn't matter how many guys you put on him.
Well, I think there's really only two, possibly three wide receivers, DeAndre Hopkins and then Julio Jones. I mean, he had nobody behind him, and he still had 1,800 yards. Yeah. Antonio Brown, great wide receiver, but he does have he had Martavis Bryant, and you did see him slide a little bit when Ben wasn't in there. So I think there's, it helps to have a number two. You're absolutely right, Alex. I mean, we saw with Denver has two wide receivers, and so it really helps to have that other wide receiver to help kind of reduce that coverage.
One last thing before, I know I'm kind of dragging this question on, but I really like the fact that the Raiders went out and got Connor Cook in the 4th round. I think that he's going to be a great backup. I'm shocked that he went as late as he did. I'm shocked that he went way after Christian Hackenberg. I'm shocked that he is a backup. I really thought that he was going to be a starter and be, pretty good for, maybe a bad team that needs somebody. But I think that the Raiders kind of lucked into having a really good backup that's going to kind of be groomed along with Derek Carr. I think that they have a great setup, and they even have great backups now. So,
I don't know.
Raiders are sexy. Raiders are so sexy.
I don't know. I've heard some talks about Connor Cook, and he's got some kind of like personality issues that, he may not be a great best team player. Yeah, really? That's why he maybe slid and stuff. Like, I don't know.
Have you seen Draft Day? Have you watched that Kevin Costner movie?
Yeah.
They're like, none of his friends came to his 21st birthday party. None of his teammates went.
That was actually Connor Cook. We didn't realize it, but that's who it was.
But I mean, I could absolutely be wrong. I just, I think when I heard that stuff, it was like right after the draft. Why he slid so late? I think I just
didn't hear that. Yeah.
So, and I think his dad came out and said something too, being all like,
yeah. His dad's kind of a douche, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. Could be rumors, could be not. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyways, no, it's okay. I was going to say my point is that I think Amari Cooper's not getting as much love as he deserves. I think that especially in dynasty formats, you should be looking at him up there with the AJ Greens, DeAndre Hopkins. He should be in that conversation right now. On Fantasy Pros, he's the number 14 wide receiver. So not as much love as he deserves.
That is really low. I think that's really low.
I agree.
I think that's good value. I mean, I think
great value. And
you should play a name game right now, Romain.
What, like who I would who you'd take?
Yeah, who would we take? I guess.
Okay, you ready?
What about Cooper? Yeah.
Okay. Amari Cooper, Mike Evans.
Cooper.
Amari Cooper, Brandon Cooks.
Cooper.
Amari Cooper, Alshon Jeffrey.
Cooper.
Ooh, I'll say Cooper because of the injury issues. I think Jeffrey might be a better player, but I want a guy that can stay on the field. So I think I'm going to lean toward Cooper. But I think Jeffrey is a better wide receiver.
Okay. Amari Cooper, Keenan Allen.
Let's just. Oh man, that's
tough because
kind of
Keenan Allen, yeah, because Keenan Allen could have some big years. I'm
gonna go Keenan Allen because, like you said, that injury was kind of a fluke. They've kind of put a few. Even though Travis Benjamin is a tiny guy, I think that there's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot of moving parts to that San Diego offense. So I think I'll go Keenan Allen on that one.
Yeah, I think we'll go Keenan Allen. It's just because like the numbers he's putting up, I trust more in Philip Rivers. Even though he's a first half, I know Philip Rivers can throw up big numbers and it can really boost. And even if Philip Rivers doesn't have a great game, Keenan Allen can have a great game. You know, he could throw for a couple hundred yards and like half of those go to Keenan Allen.
Philip Rivers is like the most elite kind of bad quarterback in the league. He's like so good, but never can get the job done.
He's a slinger for sure.
Oh yeah.
But all right, well that was fun. Let's ask one more. I got one more Oakland question, and you guys can't drag this one on for hours. Okay.
We'll try. I don't know.
I'll be real quick so we can get on.
All right, so Latavius Murray. Obviously, the hype is building on Murray. Even though people are talking up DeAndre Washington, I think now that Murray is kind of established himself as the number one, that O-line has improved. It's one of the top two, if not. It's not. I don't think it's above Dallas, but it's right up there. It's being talked up as one of the best offensive lines. How good of a season do you guys see Murray having? Van Cleve, what do you?
I think he has to have a good yard, over 1,200 yards, to be somebody who needs to keep his job. I can see him having a good year. I definitely could. He's got the explosiveness that you want. But I'm afraid that he's not going to be consistent, I guess, because I mean, he was a running back 2 last year, is what he was. Sometimes running back 3 in some games, but
but they had no one to spell him last year.
I feel like he will not finish the season as a starter.
Really?
Yeah, I feel like he is just so inconsistent, and I think that his inconsistency is just going to leave this wide open door for Washington to just come in and take over the job. I think that Murray is a really good running back, but he's kind of like a little bit more durable Andre Ellington. Like, he can have really good games, then he can kind of have meh games, and all somebody has to do is just be a little bit more consistent, and it'll take his job away.
I mean, he had 266 rushes, but he only had 6 touchdowns. I think that needs to go up. I think that's worrisome. He had just over 1,000 yards. He's got. I think he was RB2.
What was his average?
It's like 4 yards a carry.
Oh, well, that's not too bad.
No, it's not horrible. It's better than Langford's.
Yeah, anything's better than Langford.
No, but I mean, I think he's right there, running back number 2. I think that
I won't lie. I'm invested in Washington, so there's a little bit bias, but I invested in Washington because I'm worried about Latavius Murray being the starter all season.
I think Murray needs to be a number 1 running back. He's got to step it up, and I think people are thinking, especially last year, we're hoping he would be a running back 1. I know I was invested in him last year, and I was expecting him to be a running back 1. Being that guy who's consistent, because he had no one behind him.
Yeah,
but he did okay. Wasn't overwhelming, but I mean, like I said, RB2. So, but I just you draft him and you value him as a running back 1. So I think that he needs to be to show up, and I'm just scared that he may not.
I don't know. I just think Latavius Murray's he's got the body type. He's got the pedigree. He could do it.
Well, why did he do it last year? He had.
I mean, yeah.
They've improved their offensive line. They've made improvements on that.
But it wasn't bad last year.
It wasn't bad, but they improved it.
Well, but I don't know. If you're a great running back, you don't have to. That should
I didn't
be surprise.
pump the brakes. I did not say he was a great running back. All I'm saying is that I think that he could put up.
Do you think he's gonna be RB1?
I think that he could fall into being an RB1.
That's the least convincing argument I've ever heard. He could fall into being a number 1?
Yeah, I don't think that he's this out. I'm not going to sit here and say that I think he's the best running back out there and he's going to be the next, whatever, Adrian Peterson. But I think that he has he has good skills. He runs behind a good line in a good passing offense that should provide him with with this opportunity to be good. And I think that last year they were asking him to do a little bit too much. I like DeAndre Washington. I wish that I had gotten him in a couple leagues that I didn't, but he's a smaller guy. I don't know if Washington could be that every down back that Murray's going to be. So I don't know. I think that he could be good for their offense, but I think Murray could end the season better statted than he was last year.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. I'm not ruling it out. I need to see a little more consistency before I'm sure that he is the guy and a possible RB1. I think that's my biggest issue, is that I want somebody that I know week in and week out is going to get X amount of yards, a touchdown, X number of receptions, that kind of thing.
See, but where are you drafting him at?
I mean, the problem is, where's his ADP? Because if I can get him in the third round, I feel a little bit better about that. If I can get 2 stud wide receivers, and that would be the only way that I'm getting him. If I go David Johnson or Todd Gurley, I'm probably not getting Latavius Murray.
His ADP is 40th.
Okay.
According to Fantasy Pros. So it's an average ADP.
Between all of them?
Yeah, between all of them. So 40th. I mean, that's what, late, middle, third round?
Yeah.
Right?
Would you rather have Latavius Murray or C.J. Anderson?
Murray.
Would you rather have Latavius Murray or Carlos Hyde?
Carlos Hyde. I like Hyde's talent.
I like Hyde's talent. I hate Hyde's team. I hate San Francisco so much. I think they are going to be one of the worst teams in football. And when you're one of the worst teams in football, you don't get a chance to run the ball. I think I'm going with Murray simply because of that. I like Hyde better. I agree with you. I think he's a better running back. I just think that team is so bad that he's just not going to get the chances that Murray's going to get. Oakland's going to be in every single game. I think San Francisco's going to be out of most games by the half.
The nice thing about Murray is he's going to get a heavy workload, and you know that he's going to get that workload at least.
Yeah.
It's what can he do with that workload is what the question is.
I don't think you guys should be as scared about that as you are. I think that the coaches behind him, Jack Del Rio is behind him, saying that he thinks that Murray can be that running back. The coaches are behind him. I just don't think that you guys need to have as much fear about it as you do.
I don't. It's not so much fear. It's the fact that, okay, I know that if I draft this guy, there are certain running backs that I feel necessary to get that handcuff, and that handcuff will possibly be taken in drafts. I think DeAndre Washington is one of those guys that it's possible that somebody takes a flyer on him later on in the draft, and so with that being said, that person can draft him whenever. To get ahead of that person, you have to draft him a little bit higher than what everybody else would draft him at. I think that, like Carlos Hyde, I can grab him. I'm not grabbing anybody else. There's nobody else.
You don't want Sean Jerome?
No, I don't.
What?
I don't want that guy. But a Latavius Murray is a guy that has somebody right behind him that is on his own, somebody could stash in dynasties, put him on your taxi squad, see what happens. It just worries me. And when you've got a clear-cut guy behind you, that's where I start worrying about how much I'm investing into a backfield.
I just think that you're anointing Washington too quickly as being that guy.
I'm not. But the fact is that they have come out and said that they want to use Washington. No one has come out and said that they are sky high with Ruben Drones.
Ruben Drones? Who's
Ruben Drones? I want to be using with that.
Ruben Sean Drones? What is it?
Yeah. Sean Drones.
Ruben Drones played for Cleveland like 10 years ago.
I'll have to stat check that and see. But I see what you're saying, but I don't agree with you 100%. I don't know. I don't think that the Latavius Murray owner has to own DeAndre Washington. It would be nice. It'd be ideal, but I wouldn't be going out of my way to reach on a pick to take him. All I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right?
Agree to disagree.
If he falls to the end of the draft, I think taking him, like you said, and stashing him on there is just Murray. Played in all his games last year. Was healthy. That kind of little stuff goes a long ways with running backs, especially for him to make it all the way through a season, go over 1,000 yards. Even if he wasn't the absolute best producer, he still put up decent enough stats that they want to move him forward and help have him grow into that role. So
I'm just letting you know, Reuben Drones played for Cleveland from 2005 to 2006, and then New York Giants to 2007, 2008. I was correct. Thank you.
You nailed it.
I grabbed the wrong player, but I was right on because wasn't Sean Drone? Didn't he play for Cleveland too? Didn't he come from Cleveland?
I think so.
Sure. I have no idea. Well, Alex, while you're looking that up, I am going to go ahead and wrap this show up. So I appreciate everybody for coming out and listening to us. Like I said before, hit us up on Twitter.
Yes, I was right.
We are the number 4 Horseman Pod. You can send us emails at number4horsemanpod@gmail.com. Take it easy, guys. Later.